With the knowledge that the MCU's Spider-Man Far From Home is introducing some smaller Spidey villains into the fray, Hydro Man and Multiman, we can't help but wonder about what other kinds of villains might pop up in the web-slinger's silver screen stories. Some of Peter Parker's villains are notoriously powerful though, leading us to ponder whether or not some of his rogues gallery would be too strong for the MCU in its current state. So today we are counting down a few hypotheticals with our list of the top 10 Spider-Man villains who are too strong for the MCU. Now, to be fair, most of the villains on this list are quite powerful and some are arguably OP, but that does not mean that at some point we might see them make an appearance in the MCU after all. We also tried to avoid villains on our list who antagonize groups of heroes like the Avengers, which Spidey has been a member of, and instead focus on villains who at one time or another personally had it in for the web-slinger. So with that in mind, let's get to it. And at number 10, the Spider Slayers. The Spider Slayers are robots that were created specifically to hunt down, capture, and kill Spider-Man. First appearing in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 25 in 1965, there have been various iterations of them over the years, with the first being designed and built by Dr. Spencer Smythe, thanks to funding from J. Jonah Jameson. Smythe would be contaminated by radiation poisoning from creating the robots and tried to take revenge on Jameson and Spider-Man, only to die right before Spider-Man defeated him. Perhaps the more vicious versions of these robots though can be found in the Ultimate Marvel Universe, Earth 1610, where the Spider Slayers were created by the Tinkerer under Nick Fury's command in case Spider-Man ever went rogue. They're 8 feet tall, balance on a large sphere, have 2 arm cannons, and a sphere for their heads. Plus they managed to take down Carnage and kill a disfigured clone of Spider-Man's. Needless to say, they can be lethal. And at number 9, Alistair Smythe. Speaking of the Spider Slayers, our next number is actually a member of said group. Alistair Smythe, the son of Dr. Spencer Smythe, who inherited the legacy from his father, along with a hatred of Spider-Man. Initially he was wheelchair bound until he became the ultimate Spider Slayer and gained the ability to walk. So what's Alistair's deal? Well, he's a scientific genius who knows a thing or two about genetics, cybernetics, and robotics. He built his own version of the Spider Slayers, which were majorly advanced compared to his father's version, being more sophisticated and formidable. He became the ultimate Spider Slayer when he crafted a bioorganic carapace, which is a shell-like protective exoskeleton, like crustacean animals have. This fused with his spine, allowing him to walk, giving him bird-like talons for feet, and 2 curved blade-esque weapons jutting out from his shoulders, along with blades on each of his forearms. In addition to that, he also has a web shooter, and his armor gives him superhuman strength, speed, durability, and agility. That's a tough foe to beat. And at number 8, the Spot. The Spot first appeared in Spectacular Spider-Man issue 97 back in 1984. He's been an antagonist of both Spider-Man's and Daredevil's over the years, and originally worked as a scientist for another mutual threat of theirs, Kingpin. Dr. Jonathan Ahn was assigned by Wilson Fisk to reproduce the radiation levels of Cloak, a hero who can teleport himself over long distances and become intangible. When attempting to recreate his powers though, the Doctor created a circular black portal, which he then stepped into. He passed out and then awoke in a dimension that he believed to be the one that Cloak used as a gateway to teleport through. But when he returned to the real world, he had undergone a massive transformation, having portals to this other dimension adhered to his skin, giving him the black spots on his body. Now Spot can create portals that lead into an alternate dimension, which he calls Spot World, which allows him to theoretically travel unlimited distances. He can also use spots to avoid taking damage, opening a portal in which attacks pass through. His abilities are something that Spider-Man's spider sense is unable to detect, making Spot fairly deadly. And at 7, the Sinister Six. Okay, let's be real about this supervillain group for a sec. While leaving them out of the future of Spider-Man stories in the MCU might be a big mistake on Marvel Studios' part, there is no way that we'll be seeing the Sinister Six show up on the big screen anytime soon. For starters, not all of its members have been introduced into the MCU yet. Second, there is no way in hell that Peter Parker is ready to take on the combined efforts of foes that deadly. So while we do think that the Sinister Six is inevitable, we definitely think they're a long time coming as far as Spider-Man's films are concerned. And at number 6, Will-O-the-Wisp. Will-O-the-Wisp, aka Jackson Arvad, first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 167, and he's got a handful of abilities up his sleeve that would be hard for any superhero to tackle. He was a physicist who was able to gain control over the electromagnetic attraction between his body's molecules, which led to his powers. Now aside from being a scientific genius, he's capable of density control, similar to Vision, meaning he can make himself intangible if he wanted. He can fly at subsonic speeds, he's capable of hypnosis, and of course he's got superhuman strength, durability, and speed. He's come into contact with Spider-Man on multiple occasions, and once Civil War rolled around and Peter Parker's identity was revealed, he worked with Chameleon on a scheme in order to get revenge on the web-slinging hero. And at number 5, Superior Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man is a character we'll likely never see in the MCU. or rather, an iteration of the character who hasn't even come into the MCU yet. And we're talking Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus. Now, during the Dying Wish storyline back in 2012, Otto was terminally ill from his years of fighting crime, and set in motion a plan to continue his legacy. Now, this plan involved swapping his consciousness with Peter Parker, planting Parker into his dying body and Otto into Peter's healthy web-slinging one. The plan was successful, Parker died, and Otto became Spider-Man, calling himself the Superior Spider-Man. As you can imagine, fans weren't really into that, and Parker eventually returned, but Otto to this day continues to fight on as the Superior Spider-Man in the second volume of his solo series. So what makes him superior, and a villain that is too strong for the MCU, aside for reasons that we've already mentioned? Well, for starters, he had taken over Peter's body. He had access to Peter's memories. He improved upon Spider-Man's costume, upgrading it a whole lot, and still has the genius-level intellect and scientific mind of Otto. So yeah, overall, not a villain Peter Parker of the MCU would be overly eager to see come alive off the panels, I'm sure. In at 4, Red Goblin. While the Green Goblin, aka Norman Osborn, is Spider-Man's arch-nemesis, and surely will enter the MCU one day, this version of Osborn combines the Green Goblin along with the enemy of another Parker rival. Red Goblin is the result of Norman Osborn bonding with the Carnage symbiote. The symbiote Venom birthed, who has an adoration of all things blood and violence, hence the name. Anywho, Carnage got mixed in with the Goblin formula, which made both of them stronger and purged them of their weaknesses. Eventually, Osborn's youngest son, Normie, ended up getting infected too and becomes the Goblin Child. In at number 3, Jackal. For this number, we're specifically looking at Miles Warren as Jackal, because there's been multiple Jackals. First appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 31 back in 1965, Warren wouldn't become the Jackal until almost 100 issues later. Miles had a grudge against Spider-Man, believing that he was responsible for Gwen Stacy's death. He was obsessed with Gwen Stacy despite their large age difference. Now, after a failed stint as the High Evolutionary's assistant and a dead family because of one of his creations, and also a dead assistant of his that himself suffocated, Warren ends up successfully cloning humans. And begins to clone Peter Parker, of course. This carried into the highly controversial clone saga, with Jackal eventually managing to create clones of himself too. Now, aside from his scientific genius, he ends up splicing his genes with the genes of a Jackal, which grants him superhuman strength, agility, and speed. All in all, a fellow who can stir up that much trouble is not someone to be taken lightly. From a master of clones to a master manipulator, in at number 2 we have Mephisto. Mephisto is a character who many deem as too powerful overall for the MCU, regardless of what heroes he takes on. And fun fact, he's actually quite present throughout the Infinity Gauntlet comic, but his lines from that comic were given to Ebony Maw in the Infinity War film. Anywho, Mephisto, who first appeared in 1968 in the Silver Surfer issue 3, has been a foe of many heroes in the Marvel Universe. He is a demonic immortal entity based off of the Mephisto of Faust legend, who uses a variety of magic the likes of altering time, projecting illusions, shape and size shifting, regeneration, manipulating memories, and much more. He is known for acquiring souls but cannot subjugate the will of another being, hence why he's always making deals and pacts with superheroes that he wants, to put in their place and to get things from. Blah. Peter Parker got tangled up with Mephisto in the One More Day story event, in which the demon offers to save the life of Aunt May if Spider-Man gives up his marriage to Mary Jane Parker. Mary Jane Watson, I guess, technically. But she's a Parker. They got married. Is a thing. He does, and Mephisto not only erases their marriage, but erases the little girl who would be their future daughter, after also appearing as that little girl. The storyline was highly criticized. Needless to say, Mephisto is incredibly powerful, incredibly manipulative, and a villain that would be difficult to place in the MCU in its current state. Speaking of difficult villains though, in at number 1, Null. If you thought an immortal demon entity was a lot, how about a symbiote god? Null is technically more of a Venom villain, but this nefarious being also fought against Spider-Man. Null is a malevolent deity whose existence predates the universe, having prior just drifted through the endless abyss that existed before it. The Celestials created the universe, and that didn't bode well with Null, who decapitated one of them in retaliation. He essentially is the creator of the Clintar, the symbiotes, having manifested a symbiotic suit of armor from the Eldritch Darkness he commanded, setting out on a mission to commit celestial genocide. Big goals. He's got a ridiculous amount of power, he's got divine physiology, he has the ability to create, control, and manipulate Eldritch Darkness, which is a manifestation of the Primordial Void that existed before the universe. He can create symbiotes and dominate them via hive mind. He's also existed for over 12.7 billion years, so he's pretty old. He is self-sustaining, and he has a regenerative healing factor. So like, death is not a thing for this fellow. His one weakness though? The light, a metaphysical force that came into being with the Big Bang that spread throughout the abyss. Needless to say, don't know if Peter Parker could take him right now. Might be a little tough for him. Sorry, Tom Holland. I say that with love. Alright, there we have it, friends. What other Spider-Man foes do you think are too strong to enter the MCU right now? Which ones do you think are too strong to enter now, but could very well make an appearance later on? Give us a shout in those comments below and tell us all of your thoughts and your feels. If you dug this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd and join the Nerd Squad. We pump out videos just like this one daily, so be sure to check out our channel. In the meantime though, thanks for watching friends. I'll get you all in the next one.